Hello and welcome back to the LCS Lounge. We have I Will Dominate. Hopefully he can hear us because we did not have time to do a tech check.
Oh, perfect!
First
You guys hear me?
Okay, we're good. We're good. We made it.
All right, Dom is here to help us, or give us rather, his jungler tier list. I would have liked to know which LCS to LPL team correlation was, but I was overruled.
Yes. Okay.
I wonder why. Yeah. All right.
All right, so where am I'm your arms. Where am I putting people?
Okay, so I want to start off by just prefacing this with saying that my tier list is for like how they've played over the first 10 or 11 games, however many we've seen, and not like who I predict to be good in the future or the people that I think have been really good in the past or who might have been a world champion that I might underrate and get a lot of people mad. So just going with that right here.
Yeah,
to start off. So
history off.
Yeah, there's a very specific thing in there, so we're good.
Yes.
That makes sense.
All right.
Yes. They're all rookies. Okay, so let's. Where are we starting? We starting at the top or the bottom?
It's up to you. Yeah,
Let's do
or
bottom.
bottom.
I think that's
Mark
fine.
says bottom, so.
You're making me do it right off the bat. Okay.
Get it out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Actually,
Go quick.
What? Am I missing something? Okay, D tier. We've got Kenvi. I've got him last, so he'll be in 10th.
All right.
And then it hurts. It hurts for me, but I'm gonna have to put Santorin next to him in D tier.
Whoa.
Dang.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
It's tough.
The criteria
tough.
matters.
Yep. And then, okay, C tier, I've got a 2022 world champion.
I thought he's a rookie.
I've got Pyosik in C tier.
C for champion. I understand.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, C for champion. Yeah, because he just won, so I want to, pay respect to him there. Contracts in B. Next up. And then I have Boogie next to him.
To the left.
Better or worse?
Boogie slightly better. Slightly better.
Okay, I see.
All right.
A little bit. They're both really good. Okay, A tier. I've got Closer, then Blabber, then Inspired.
Oh, here comes the soup.
From right to left. And then S tier. Yeah, so Closer on the right, Inspired on the left,
Okay.
Blabber in the middle.
There we go. Wait.
And then I have Spica number 2
Oh.
and River number 1.
River.
I got River as the best right now.
Actually,
I think he's
you know what?
smurfing literally every game.
I respect the hell out of this because I think River's really good.
Well, he just also gapped Inspired too.
Yeah.
So pretty good time to make that list.
What?
Yep,
What?
I mean-
what have you seen from River's actual play that has impressed you the most?
I mean, he just never makes a bad play. It feels like everyone else has some good plays, some bad plays. Sometimes they have a bad game here or there, but River's actually just good every single game. He's always ahead. Every single play he goes for works. It just feels like he's one of those junglers that's in the zone, and I respect that. Like, I know what it looks like when one of those junglers just feels like every single play they go for it. They have a plan. It makes sense. They know what they want to do after it. Are we getting a turret? Are we getting a dragon off this? Are we getting Rift out? He's just super in the zone right now, and it's nice to watch. I don't know. I just feel like he's playing better than everyone else.
And a question that I have for you is actually towards Spica, because Spica has actually not been talked about a lot. People have been talking about Vikla, about Prince. Talk to me about Spica a little bit and why you rated him in S tier alongside River.
Spica, I mean, he's super solid. He's free from the TSM shackles, so now
There it
he's
is.
No.
absolutely smurfy again. I mean, his lanes are good, right? So that's what I think he has at his advantage here. Where River, sometimes his lanes lose, he still has to perform. Spica has the benefit of playing with really good laners, but overall, I mean, he doesn't make many mistakes as well. It seems like he really knows how to play around good laners, which is a skill in and of itself. And yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. I feel like he's just one of the best junglers we have right now.
So a small thing that I've seen in the community and some of the post-game reaction threads for 100 Thieves recently is there's been some flame towards Closer. He's had some lackluster buy games. I know that really has stuck in the community's mind, but you still have him in A tier. So what is it about his game that you're still appreciating?
I think he's in a lot of pretty tough positions with how his team has to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, maybe it is just me looking back at some of the splits he's had because he's always been one of the best junglers in LCS since he came in.
Yeah.
So I've always had that respect for him. Maybe this split with how 100 Thieves are doing, I could have went a little bit lower on him, but I just feel like putting him in B tier it doesn't sit right with me. I just feel like he is better than that B tier that I have with Contracts and Boogie.
Yeah, well, 100 Thieves and TL play next, and you got Pyosik down at number 8. What do you think he should do better? There's been a lot wrong, but what do you think he should do better if he wants to actually win the game against 100 Thieves?
So I think Pyosik is weird, right? Because he has really good early games. He sometimes will get ahead, but then he'll have disasters, like absolute catastrophes that happen later on in the game, right? Like the Jarvan.
He said this on Reddit if you saw.
There's some times where, I mean, like he just runs it down, and it's really hard to recover from that, especially with like some of the champions that he's playing. If you have a bad fight on Jarvan, it really feels like the game is lost. So I just think if he improves his team fighting, then he'll be in a higher tier for me.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you when you join the broadcast next time for that LPL segment. I'm going to make it happen.
Okay, I'm down.
And now for a feature on TL mid laner Haeri.
All right. I'm clear? All right, perfect.
Okay, you guys ready for me? I was born in Australia. Mostly my childhood was just playing League of Legends and going to school every day, repeat. The last year of high school, I was very focused on only playing League at the time. So I would like play very late, and then I had to go to school very early. I would sleep in class, and I wouldn't do my homework, and you know, like I wouldn't do my assignments, and I would like fail every test. I thought at the time, okay, maybe it's like league or nothing now at the point, because you know, my grades were dropping and I didn't really have any other options. You know, if I'm going to do something, then I should do something that I really love, and you know, if I'm not going to do it, then I think I would have way more regrets if I didn't even start my career in the first place.
In 2017, when I created my team Order, a kid called Haeri popped up for a team called Gravitas, and I used to joke with my mid laner that he was getting a little bit too old and maybe it was time for him to retire, and that there was a future Order mid laner, Haeri Kang, out there that I was scouting. And the next year, I subsequently picked Haeri up as a starting mid laner of Order. This is a kid that has a great attitude towards the game, plays absolutely every champion that you could ask him to play. He's kind of everything that you would want from a coach. And we just narrowly missed out on World. That was kind of my introduction to Haeri.
Back-to-back champions, split 1 and 2. Legacy are the team going to Worlds. Curse continues, unfortunately, for Order. It wasn't their year. They tried so hard. Commiserations to so many of those players. They gave it their all. They were the team to beat.
When we didn't make it to Worlds, and then I heard the news that the OPL was getting disbanded. At the time, it was very heartbreaking, especially at my age and like, you know, how much passion I have for the game. I think it was probably one of the worst times I've experienced in my life. I did have regrets. There were a lot of like flashbacks of the finals.
Flashing on in, 1v4!
Because, you know, if we did make it to Worlds and if we had a good showing, then we would have other career options other than the OPL. I was really struggling to like see the future. It was a very hard time for me, for sure.
I was heartbroken. I helped build the org with Riot from 2015. Obviously, it'd been my primary source of income for a lot of years, and I'm a father of 2 kids and have a house and a wife in Australia. And I kind of just saw my whole career in the region like dissolve, to be honest. For Haeri, it was kind of similar because I knew that Haeri felt like he hadn't yet received an offer and was very nervous. Ultimately, I couldn't just shake the feeling that Haeri was already better than these players. And the more I watched VODs and the more I showed people like CoreJJ, Jat, the more they started to agree, and I slowly got buy-in that this is a move that we should make.
My initial reaction was, I was like super happy, and I had no other offers at the time, and I didn't even feel like, you know, I deserved to play in NA Academy. Like, no one's going to know who I am, and no one has probably seen me play like in the OPL, if you're an NA fan. So I didn't feel like maybe I belong in the NA, but I knew I'm definitely good enough, so I think that's why I joined regardless.
Back and forth, there we go, into the waiting hall. The
And because I think I played really well individually and we won, I think it's like a double bonus. I thought, like, maybe watching LCS from back home in Australia, you know, it wasn't just a dream. it could actually become reality.
This team has showed everything that a coach would want a team to show. It's been an absolute honor. I hope that now it's without a doubt that these guys are, LCS ready talent.
We finally won something together after working together for 3 years, and without him, I wouldn't be in NA, I wouldn't be in the LCS, and I'm just really always grateful for him. I just want to let him know that he's an amazing coach. He's an amazing person, especially, and I hope he keeps doing what he does. I hope that one day he'll be in the LCS scene, and maybe we'll be on the same team or enemies. That'll be really fun.
He has achieved his dreams of playing on the biggest stage.
What save there from Neo. Zeri's gonna look for the end anyway, and he finds it.
If I could be even, a small part of what he is saying, then obviously that makes me super proud and super thankful that I could have a player like that. Also, I would never want to coach against this guy.
Welcome back to the LCS, everyone. We are about to get into 100 Thieves versus Team Liquid Honda. Azael, I warn you, I was really late to put our going live tweet, so I was so lazy with it. It's nothing special. Just warning you in advance.
It's okay, you got to pass.
But we do.
But the next one better be better.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not the one that needs to be sweating right now, even though you are determined to make that happen. We've got 100 Thieves, Team Liquid, very different positions for them coming in to round out their week and the first week of this round robin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's I think a pretty big game for both teams. At this point, they are both 4 and 6. I think the expectations for the teams were both pretty high, right? So a lot of pressure on these guys to start performing and kind of start performing now. Neither of them really had the start to the split that they were hoping for. 100 Thieves is on a 4-game losing streak right now. I do believe they lost all the games in Super Week. They lost their game yesterday as well. So they want to get back towards their winning ways. TL at least picked up a win yesterday, trying to right the ship a little bit there. But it was also really cool to actually see that piece on Haeri, which I hadn't watched yet. Spawn is a good friend of mine, so it's fun to see his involvement in Haeri's career. And just how passionate and how strongly Haeri clearly feels about it. You could see the emotion when he's talking about his journey and how much it meant to him. That League felt like for him was his only option. It was kind of a do or die type thing, and that's what I think what can drive some of these players to work so hard at it and to really try to reach that next level.
And that's why in this matchup, I think one of the things that we are looking at are those newer to the LCS faces, both on Team Liquid and 100 Thieves side. I think it's great getting that shout out in what Spawn offers too. I know on the dive, him stepping in alongside Yeon and CoreJJ really had some insight there. But coming into this draft, we'll have to see what these teams want to bring to the table.
So there is the Annie ban. Bjergsen played it yesterday. He actually looked quite good on it individually. The game obviously didn't end up going their way, but it was, I think, a pretty powerful pick, but clearly they're not willing to actually first pick it here on blue, so they're going to be banning it away. Mostly people in the LCS have just been playing it as support. Core actually played it as support as well. I think yesterday, even in their win, I think it was. But he has played it at least one time this season, so going to be banning that away. Going to be interested to see if there's any sort of evolution here as far as the pick ban goes, because we have seen some adaptations today, some new things. We saw the Rengar as an answer to the Elise, which is a really strong matchup. Being able to use the empowered W on the Cocoon, win those 1v1s. We saw MF come out, that wasn't a loss, but we're seeing some of these adaptations, which I think is kind of fun.
And it's not just the way that the players that pick those adaptations play on them, it's disheveling things for your opponent when you bring in something like that Rengar, right? Looking at the way the other team responds, not knowing exactly how to adjust themselves. A nice friendly hover here, a little present for Captain Flowers.
Well, there was someone I think had a sign earlier that it was saying Hover Skarner as their sign. I don't know if they're actually still here.
Yeah, I'm scouting.
Yeah, we'll see if we can spot them. But Lulu first pick. And will TL just opt into Lucian Nami versus Zeri Lulu? Because it has felt to me that Lucian Nami is just chain losing this side of the matchup over and over and over across all leagues that I'm watching. And I don't know if that's just anecdotal. I really want to kind of dig into those stats because it just feel like the options are so much more limited for the Lucian Nami. You really have to push the pace of the game. You have to get things done. Whereas Zeri Lulu kind of just have to hang around and survive. They're going to get to their power point very, very easily, where, Lucian Nami, as soon as it feels like you hit one item, you've got to be dictating the pace of the game. You've got to be taking objectives. You've got to be putting pressure on your opponents and trying to find these angles that require you to put yourself at risk to get kills.
And sometimes it feels like when looking at pairings like that, like the Lucian and Nami, they are kind of echoes of a different time, right? There was a point where they were much more dominant, and then through everlasting changes, these teams wanting to stick to that consistency and going into some of these matchups that they're very, very familiar with, but again, still leaning over towards the opposite side. And 100 Thieves, having the Zeri, having the Lulu here. We talked about Doublelift and how great he has looked in some of the games, and even that last game, he and Bjergsen both being formidable in the early.
Absolutely, and I'm kind of expecting just Sejuani at this point. It feels like, you know, we're getting so many of these handshake drafts where it is Lucian Nami on one side, Zeri Lulu on the other side. A lot of Wukong for Sejuani as well. Will they mix that up? Vi is obviously another great option. You know, if they want to go a little bit more aggressive to help lock down that Lucian, so that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I mean, I think Doublelift has been playing well overall. To me, TL and 100 Thieves have had kind of different problems, but somewhat similar. For 100 Thieves, it feels like a lot about their cohesion. It feels like a lot of their issues are not in the individual play, but it's in how they're playing together. It feels like they're on different pages. Sometimes their front line is going in, and Bjergsen and Doublelift aren't there to actually follow up. So it feels like either the shot calling is not really there, or people aren't just on the same page or feeling that they should be playing the game out in the same way, and that's causing them so many issues in the mid game.
I do remember specifically you on that cast calling out a fight where it was Tenacity and Closer just a little too early on the fight, and then taking a lot of that damage before the carries could come up. And the difference maker that can be if we see that synergy coming along, which is why I'm looking at some of the newer faces, right? Busio and Tenacity on this squad. One of the purposes is they have so much potential, and they're going for that accelerated growth pattern by being paired with voices like Doublelift and like Bjergsen and another champion and Closer to really have an effect on that development.
Absolutely. I mean, both teams are basically doing the same thing, right? You know, you have Haeri and Yeon on one side, you have Tenacity and Busio on the other. Both of these teams are basically, you know, imitating what we saw EG do, right? You try to pair these new, young, promising players with some veterans, these guys that are going to bring stability to the team, these guys that you're going to be able to learn from and really accelerate that growth as you're talking about. And funny enough, both teams are at the exact same spot in the standings thus far. You know, I have liked overall how, you know, even though I've been critical at times, I think of how Tenacity has played in conjunction with his team. I've liked that he has been able to stay aggressive. I like that he's, you know, not kind of lost his killer instinct, because you do want to see that from your rookies. You want to see them playing aggressive. You want to see them having confidence in their mechanics, you know, going right at their opponents. And their coaches can kind of help you shore up all the other stuff, right? Yeah. I think mechanics are very hard to teach. I do think it's sometimes easier for the coaching side to be able to teach the other aspects of the game.
I think that when it comes... Wait, Doublelift, give me a jersey. Do you have a jersey to give back, though? Because jersey swaps are the new hotness.
Swap. Are you willing to trade your t-shirt for that jersey?
Yes, we ask for no pit stains, please. A little bit of a hygiene issue on the stage.
Someone wants a jersey. Someone wants to get carried. They all want something for Doublelift. What does Doublelift want from you, though? You know, that's a real question.
Nobody asks, how's Doublelift? Where's Doublelift? Where's my Doublelift? But nah, all the love from the audience, I'm sure, here. Cheering on some of their favorites here on the stage. And I think that when looking at Lucian and Nami, I just want to know, are you so happy, Azael? Considering all the things you're saying.
The 7,000th game of Lucian Nami.
Is this what you have been waiting your entire life for?
It is, exactly. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how they do. I will say, at the very least, the other side isn't like as tanky. That is amazing. You know, they're not going against the Sion, at least. They are the ones with the Sion. It is two tanks in the top lane. Tenacity is going to take kind of the more aggressive edge on that matchup. You know, he'll have the Cassante. But it's kind of scaling mid laners. It's engaged junglers. It's tanks in the top lane. And then you have, you know, two kind of different styles of bot lane. I do think Lucian and Nami kind of are forced to push the pace a little bit more. We'll see if TL can kind of try to get priority early on in the bot side, try to play towards dragons, give themselves a little bit of a win condition to try to speed up the pace of the game. Because I do generally favor the Zeri Lulu in these 5v5s, unless you can really make some magic happen. They do have good ways to engage and get on them. You know, things like the stolen Vi ult. Haeri can grab that, you know, with the hijack from Sylas, go in with that Vi ultimate. You have Sion, you have Wukong to fly in over that backline, so they have ways to actually get back to that Zeri and try to threaten him, but it is going to be very difficult to try to ignore Cassante, ignore Vi, ignore this Viktor, and get right back in and kill off that Zeri. But oftentimes, if you cannot do that, you can't really win these extended team fights where Zeri just starts to take over. You get so much move speed stacked up during that ultimate, and you kind of just run over the entire team.
Team Liquid are no strangers to the games where they just can't quite lock down that Zeri. and things really fall out of their grasp. But looking to get that lockdown here against 100 Thieves in this matchup. And with all of that considered, you're saying the biggest differential is in the way that the bot lane should be played, but is there a comp overall between these teams that you are favoring?
I mean, I just think I favor 100 Thieves comp because I just think it's Zeri Lulu, to me, feels so favored in this matchup that we see time and time and time again. I do think you really kind of have to outplay your opponents when you are playing on the side of the Lucian Nami. You have to play better than them because you have to find these more aggressive angles. You're forced into these difficult situations where your opponents really don't have to do much besides kind of just sit back, wait for their time to really shine in the 5v5. So I think 100 Thieves are going to have the easier comp to play out, but we'll see if they're going to be able to execute here.
We will have to wait and see in what Team Liquid also does in this early portion of the game, because when you're looking at their victories, I think one place that a lot of fans were looking was jungle, right? Is Pyosik going to be able to make these early moments happen? And he has had some effective games of doing so before that ended in losses. Now we're seeing it really picked up and getting capitalized upon from the team.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that I Will Dominate was actually talking about, in his tier list, is that, he thinks Pyosik does have a strong early game, but he can struggle in his team fighting, makes team fighting errors that really can kind of come back and cost the team. It's also interesting, both these ADs are actually playing their most played characters, but Doublelift has had a lot better success on the Zeri than we've actually seen for Yeon. Doublelift is 3-1 on the Zeri, so almost all their wins have come with that. Whereas Yeon is actually 1-3, so he's on the other side of that on the Lucian. So, kind of the inverse records there. TL have often been really good in the 2v2. Yeon and Core have been playing it aggressive, getting 2v2 kills, finding pressure, but it has not been translating into wins. So we'll see if they can at least get an advantage for themselves here again against Doublelift and Busio, because I think that's really kind of what they need to do.
It makes you wonder what the overall effect will be the more opportunities they get on the stage working through the end game, because the strong early game, right, that shows a lot of the consequence of their great practice and really getting that lockdown in their current regimen. And sometimes you need that quick adaptation to really having these opportunities against the other teams to build that synergy over time. Yeah,
absolutely. It's going to take time for them to really kind of build that up more and more and more. And it is one of those things where, sometimes the laning phase is the more kind of simple aspect of the game. It can be complex in some matchups, but Core obviously has a tremendous amount of experience. Yeon has a lot of confidence in his mechanics, so they can play these 2v2s out well. But I think, when it gets to the mid game, that's more where TL struggles, where there's so many different ways to play it out. There's so many different options on how you should approach the game. We can see Pyosik is just shadowing Closer here. He has the red buff, and Closer's on blue, so he will be pushed out. You can see Closer at least proccing the Aftershock. I don't know if Pyosik is going to have confidence to actually start up this red buff, though, because that would be pretty sketch with the ability of 100 Thieves bot lane to collapse.
Doublelift and Busio being closed in on their turret made it easy for them to rotate through that dry bush if needed. Pyosik being a bit wary of that possibility. Does have that ward on red for now or later. Closer trying to get through some of this jungle, and Pyosik is going for a bit of harass. Closer so close to the mid lane for an extra level of protection.
Yeah, now Pyosik may have overstayed his welcome because Bjergsen is here on the move. Haeri could try to come down as well, but Pyosik, it looks like we'll be able to walk it out. And this is kind of really funny how he's playing it. He's basically just saying, if neither of us are farming, it's better for me, because Vi is that champion that has more of the early ganking power, whereas for the Wukong, you're happy to kind of just sit back and farm it out. If Vi's not ganking at 3 and you're not ganking at 3, that's in your favor. So he's just been hanging around here for so long, and now Core and Yeon have this pushed up, and they have a potential 3v2 dive here. They're gonna look for Doublelift.
Waves are collapsing, and the teleport coming in. It's enough to make the scary face at Team Liquid. So Closer nearby if needed, but the immediate response for the offset.
Yeah, it's a great TP coming through from Bjergsen, but look towards mid lane if we can get a pan over there. And that is 7-8 minions, and they're all gonna be lost. So that is a big cost for Bjergsen. Not only does he lose all of his experience, he spent his teleport to bail out his bot lane, so now he can't even TP back. So you're gonna lose all of this, and it's gonna mean that it's a pushing wave. So they may have to do something interesting with their lane assignments. Are they going to send Yeon towards mid? It looks like, or excuse me, Doublelift is going to go out towards mid, and they're going to leave the Viktor down towards bot. It seems like is the choice. At least Doublelift is kind of hesitating. He's kind of splitting the difference. He's walking, out towards the red buff area. Now it looks like they're going to have Closer just push out mid. Bjergsen's going to try to shove out bot and then reset and go back towards mid. So at least he gets some farm off of that. But it is pretty costly on that TP.
Yeah, great denial of opportunities and absorption of resources. So from Team Liquid, not only pressuring Closer when he's on that level 3, preventing him from being proactive, now accessing that teleport, taking it away from Bjergsen, and allowing their bot lane to flourish that much more, even keeping it warded up along the way if Doublelift did make a rotation.
And this is actually really good from Doublelift. Doublelift delaying that base a lot actually matters quite a bit here. Now, will he actually let the wave come to him? I feel like he should just hard shove this. But maybe I guess he doesn't feel like at this point he can actually get it in. And with his team doing the dragon, he doesn't want to expose himself, so he's going to allow the wave to continue pushing towards him. This is going to deny more minions, and is going to allow them to be able to knock down that dragon here early on. You know, Yeon had a lot more farm, but his base was delayed for a long time. So, you know, I thought Doublelift might have just tried to shove and then reset again himself to try to even out the buy a little bit more, but did elect to just hold the wave. This will deny more experience and more gold, so it'll even out a little bit. But it also means that in the long run, he's likely to be stuck in this disadvantageous matchup because it is going to be the full Noon Quiver on the other side, and he just has 2 long swords.
But at least with that objective focus from the team and 100 Thieves starting that early stacking for that dragon in this lane against Yeon and CoreJJ, where they want to apply that pressure bot, which kind of extends out into the dragon area anyways, right? So offering that denial for 100 in their own sense to get some footing under them. But you're right, Azael, just still has to be cautious from here on out and not end up losing the footing.
Yeah, because I mean, he's going to be locked in this lane now. When you're pushed in, you can't base with the wave pushing towards you, you know, so that does have a cost. You even out the CS probably here, very likely, but it is going to mean they're having to play really, really carefully. You definitely don't want to be trading very heavily into Yeon when he's on a much better buy. Sion just going to be kind of trading pretty heavily back and forth here on the top side. Cassante is playing Ghost, which we didn't touch on, which is going to be really nice, you know, for these long lanes. If you can actually get to a place where you can kind of threaten the Sion in the 1v1, it's generally a better summoner for that 1v1. But you do give up kind of the explosive nature of having that flash for things, you know, like a flash abduct with your ultimate in a team fight. So it definitely does have a cost.
And as far as the rest of the map state, with the warding that was possible from Team Liquid over on that top side, keeping eyes on Closer, you can see the response from Yeon and CoreJJ as well as Haeri to continue harassing the lane. So much that you gain from that knowledge of where the enemy jungler is.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying their best to try to track the enemy jungler. We saw Pyosik doing a really good job with that early on, where he was just kind of ghosting Closer, following him around, you know, invading on him, harassing him, trying to delay his level 6. But it is Closer who's now level 6, and he's actually behind Bjergsen here. So if Bjergsen can bait Haeri to go aggressive, they're going to kill Haeri. And we'll see if Haeri does want to take the bait whatsoever. For now, you know, there's not really a reason for him to get too aggressive, so we may see Closer look elsewhere for that first ulti.
Closer right now just sticking over into the farming territory, does have that ult available, as you mentioned. You can see just the level of harass that Lucian offers alongside the Nami when you're able to get that ebb and flow. And 100 Thieves making sure that they don't take too much more than they have to, because Doublelift obviously being the full focus of that poke.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be trying to just dodge out those Qs as much as possible. You know, it is a lot about the sustain there. Closer Qs forward, trying to get in range for that ulti. Would be too much to actually commit the flash there, because, you know, if he flashes forward then ults, he's not really going to have any damage to finish him off. So wanted to see if he could actually catch Yeon there, as he was out of mana, but not able to get in range. And at the very least, it does cover the reset here from Doublelift. Doublelift, as you can see, has almost, you know, caught up in farm. He was about 10 down when we had checked in after that initial attempted dive. So because of the pull, because of the freeze that he had set up, the wave pushes towards him. It denies some of the CS from Yeon. So he's going to be able to even this out quite a bit, and we'll see if he wants to take his base here. Because they are looking to actually set up a potential threatened dive as well. Vi, you can see, is wrapping around again.
Yeah, Closer's going for it. There's the ult that he was looking for. Yeon blasting on down. Doublelift with a follow-up. First blood into the ADC's pocket. CoreJJ still alive, looking to see if he can finish someone off as the unstoppable onslaught comes from Summit way downtown. It's the trade of the entirety of the bot lane of 100 Thieves for the first blood kill.
Man, great roam there from Summit down towards bot side. And Yeon's just going to respawn, go right up towards top, so a lot of the farm will be actually caught by Summit. Still, great play overall from 100 Thieves, and even though some of those kills are traded back, I think they're going to be pretty happy about the fact that the gold all went to Doublelift. So yes, 2 kills did go to the other side, but none of it went to Lucian. Lucian didn't even get an assist, and he had farm denied from him. So first blood goes to Doublelift. Yeah, there's a little bit more gold going the other way, but it's on Nami and Sion, so I think overall, you're going to be really happy about the aggressive play. We can watch this one more time. They are setting up for this dive, And Sion just kind of knows that this is actually coming in. You can see he's actually coming out from base. The initial play there onto Yeon, very, very good. Doublelift takes that extra tower shot as he's trying to get out because of the CC there from CoreJJ. And then in comes Summit, and no way for them to actually get out of there. So first kill goes down, second kill goes down, Closer does survive. But you can see no big reaction. He's not frustrated by it that much.
A little bit of an eye for that. But that was a great play from Summit to counter there. Still something that 100 Thieves can be fairly comfortable with. Just gives a little bit of a
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's nice to be able to get something back. They did lose a plate topside as well for it, so that's another chunk of gold there that does kind of keep it fairly even. Overall, is just a slight gold lead onto the TL side. The wave, not looking great for Doublelift, but it is Yeon pushing it in because TL actually want to start up the dragon, so they're going to grab a dragon back for himself. And I don't think there's going to be any sort of a contest here because Sion has also already moved down. Tenacity is still top lane without TP, so there's not really much of an angle here for 100 Thieves to look. And I just like how Sion was actually cheating down. You know, he walks down river, he walks to here, he just waits there, and then if something breaks out, he can come up, but instead he's just going to walk back up and actually catch that wave. You can see the wave still not actually crashing on top side, so pretty nice little roam there from Summit. Doesn't fully commit to it, but that implied threat that he could show up is going to dissuade any sort of a challenge at the dragon from 100 Thieves.
And still has teleport available now, as well as the ultimate coming right back up. So Team Liquid really operating on that, what we can threaten you with being powerful, but a threat coming down from the bot lane. Closer going on to CoreJJ before ulting on the opposite. Yeon goes down. CoreJJ attempt to disengage. Oh, that was a close one. Little thumbs up on the retreat.
Yeah, that was extremely close. Pyosik was there, but he was there just a couple seconds too late. And 100 Thieves, make the play happen before he can actually arrive. It is again another kill here onto Yeon. This Lucian, this is why it's so difficult, right? If this is happening to the Zeri, sure, it sucks, but you can always be like, well, we can kind of get it back later. You can farm it up, you can play it slow, slow down the pace of the game. Lucian kind of continues to have pressure on him to do things, at all times. And he is closing in on that Gale Force. And when Gale Force and Mandate are done, we need to start seeing them get aggressive. That's very often where teams will just rotate their Lucian and Nami over towards mid, try to take control of the map through that. Look to put on pressure with things like the culling and the Gale Force, and try to use that to really kind of dictate the pace of the game through that mid game. So we'll see if they're still going to be able to do that. As at the very least, they'll get some gold here for Haeri.
And down mid is always a great place to throw a Rift Herald because the way it can break things open to set up for future objectives. We're still in plated territory here at 1240, so that gold right down the lane is something Team Liquid can be happy about. It's been very even with the gold throughout this early game thus far.
Yeah, I mean, it is quite even, right? You can see some slight advantages on top side, a little bit more farm, that extra kill, of course, for Summit. But a few plates have gone the way of 100 Thieves, in bot as well as the one on top. So a very even game, all things considered. But generally speaking, I just think that again favors the Zeri Lulu, which is why I like that draft, that bit much more. And it's also why we've been seeing blue side in general seems to be so much more successful kind of in this current meta. The LEC had a BO5 earlier today. Blue side won all 5 games in their BO5, and it was almost all, if not all, Zeri Lulu on blue side pretty much every single game. And people haven't really been willing to actually bust out anything else or mix it up too much to try to really punish it. They are willing to kind of handshake the Lucian Nami into it, but it just hasn't been very successful.
It is that late game security. Even if you face a game where, all right, let's say Vi doesn't get the early ganks off. Let's say we don't really quite get that lead. We always got something that can scale up later. Whereas Team Liquid feeling that pressure of what have we accomplished with this Lucian Nami lane?
Yeah, and I mean, they're still going to have lots of ways that they can win out these team fights. It's just more difficult. It's not as straightforward. It's going to depend on finding multiple engage angles, really getting in on top of Doublelift. He's playing barrier, which is obviously going to help him on that dive, but it's not anything like a cleanse that is going to get him immediately out of there. So if they can actually lock him down, if they can land some CC on him, try to 100-0 him, those are the kind of plays you're going to be looking for. The ultimates that are going to be stolen by Haeri are going to be key. If he can actually steal away Vi ult, you have Pyosik coming in at the same time, Vi ult into Wukong ult, into Sion ult, like all these things, if they're able to be layered and kind of appropriately used, then you definitely do have the ability to knock this guy down, but it's just hard, right? And if you're not already winning the game, if you don't actually have that deep vision to find TP flanks and things like that, it can become pretty difficult.
But on the side of Team Liquid, they have built into that bot lane with the Gale Force and the Imperial Mandate, as you said. So seeing what they can do with that additional layer to the utility that CoreJJ can provide on this Nami, and having that second escape ability with the Gale Force active for Lucian when he does get locked upon by 100 Thieves.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's kind of the power of it. You have that escape ability, but you also have that ability to go aggressive and try to execute people with it. You know, dive right in onto your opponents, and it is now 100 Thieves starting up this Herald, feeling confident, but this is TL on their one-end power spike for both their bot laners, so they're happy to fight this, and it's going to be a scrap here.
Teleport coming in from both sides. Pyosik going into the back line. They get multiple locks up, so they take Closer down. 100 Thieves dodging out. Tenacity keeping himself on the River side. Getting some damage over the wall from Doublelift, but because Team Liquid were able to rotate on over, they get the objective.
Yeah, nicely done there by TL. It was kind of a brazen start from 100 Thieves. You know, they just straight up started up, but it is Lucian Nami on their really big power spike. And it's just a great engage from Summit. He comes down from top side and just connects with Closer. Closer just gets pretty much 100 to 0'd in that CC. Wasn't able to get his flash off and get over the wall, but they didn't really have the battle lines ever established because it's Sion threatening from one side, it's people coming in from the other side, and you can't actually fight front to back. You want to kind of be attacking that one target. So they all try to pull back into this corridor here. Everyone makes it though, except for Closer, who just gets locked down. And then with him already dead and not really a lot of pressure being put out on the other side, 100 Thieves is gonna have to take the L and just back off, especially because Haeri had stolen the Vi ultimate there and actually hadn't even committed it. So if you try to get back through that corridor, Bjergsen or Doublelift are gonna get ulted on and very likely taken down.
And you see the way that a lot of what Team Liquid have in their toolkit comes into play in those moments, even though, yes, the tidal wave from Nami didn't have to hit them because it just says, hey, you gotta go farther away. We're creating that distance so that we can collapse upon the objective, meaning the second Rift Herald in the game for Team Liquid, the first having been dropped down mid, and then now in response, 100 Thieves picking up their second Drake of the game.
Yep, gonna be able to grab another dragon there. And yeah, I mean, the Nami ult over top of all the engage that they already have really just kind of creates that chaos, right? It's these zoning tools. Sure, Zeri can dash over the wall and avoid it, but if you actually dash out of the fight, then you have no easy way to re-enter. And if someone is segmented from the rest of your team, you know, one of your frontliners are stuck up there, Tenacity or Closer, that just means they're taking free damage. So that is really the difficulty that you have to kind of deal with when you are playing against these style of compositions. But at the very least for 100 Thieves, they have really good diverse damage profiles here. They have a lot of physical damage from top jungle, from bot, and Viktor is going to be an absolute beast here in those later stages. And even honestly on one item, Viktor spikes pretty hard. You know, it's not like in Azir where I think you have to kind of get towards those 2-3 items to really start being powerful. Viktor's pretty much good to go as soon as you get your first upgrades through for the upgraded laser and complete your mythic.
Also has a stopwatch in the pocket and wanted to get the second charge. A little bit of pop right there in the final moment. So Team Liquid do manage to get that tier 1 down mid after dropping their second Herald there, and will have a great way of opening up this map, even getting the scuttles on the retreat. So 100 Thieves starting to see that circle close in the middle lane.
Yeah, absolutely. It is that slight gold lead for TL, but really this is a game that is very clearly going to come down to team fights.
Oh, yes.
No one is really creating any massive advantages in the side lane. Everyone is building for 5v5. Everyone is going to be knowing this game is going to come down to it. And I wouldn't be surprised to see, you know, an all-out fight for this third dragon. If TL, you know, want to try to stop 100 Thieves moving towards Soul Point, there is a chance that 100 Thieves are just willing to give it up and try to buy themselves more time to complete those additional items. But if they go for it, I expect TL to be ready to challenge. And we're going to see this game just straight up decided in 5v5s.
Yeah, I'm hoping these 5v5s are going to be a lot of fun, because all we really got was, there are a couple teleports that came over towards that Herald, and one was a little later. Felt like Tenacity got there and was like, oh man, I didn't even really get to hit anyone, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been those all-out fights just yet.
Yeah,
you know?
we're not in that.
People kind of poking and prodding, but then one team is getting the advantage, so the other team just kind of pulls it back. But yeah, I think we are going to have some satisfying 5v5s for sure. Bjergsen just pushing up here on bot side, you know, trying to push Haeri back, trying to chunk him out with that ulti. And finish off that tower if he can, but not going to be able to get it just yet.
Farm pretty even for the mid laners on both sides. Summit, after using that ult to get to lane as quickly as possible.
Oh, their TP flanking.
All right, downtown. Pyosik taking a lot of damage, but the teleport coming in. Doublelift and the team went to collapse spawn somewhat, but they have to be worried about Haeri on the opposite side. Now Summit, the biggest body, will continue to put himself into the face of the enemy and the rest of his team. That threat being enough, 100 can't lay down any additional damage, and the disengage is good.
Yeah, the TP came through from Summit, but 100 Thieves, good job disengaging. Doesn't amount to too much, but it does mean they have TP advantage now because it's actually double TP available on the solo laners here. You know, both Bjergsen and Tenacity have it available. You can see Summit, Haeri do not have their TPs, so they can play more heavily through these sides. It gives them the ability to go towards sides, push out those lanes, and then start with an objective with a threat that they can actually TP into join. So that alone could really set up 100 Thieves well, potentially for this next dragon.
And that next dragon's got a full minute and a half for them to get plenty of time to set up and get the alternate lanes to where they need to be. You can see Tenacity making that swift movement towards top side because of how weak that turret is. Haeri having pushed the wave prior.
Yeah, just wants to try to keep that tower available as long as possible. They're trying to deny as much gold as they can here from TL. Both teams want to be as strong as they can be, but because Busio has actually backed, you know, Tenacity has got to be able to back it up. He knows that this is no longer his side of the map. And you can tell everyone is coming up there. Some of the vision got cleared from the river, so he's not going to be able to hold there. But on the other side of the map, they do take the tier 1 down in bot lane, and they're going to be pushing up in mid lane because that is where 100 Thieves is going to be strong. As Closer and Busio will again just move back into that river and fight back and forth. These two teams are essentially just, it's basically one team has a turn when they get the push, then the other team gets the push and it's their turn and they go back, and they're kind of just exchanging blows on that vision back and forth.
Two sides of the tug of war rope where they say, all right, this is the time you get your burst in and then we'll get ours, and just keep it somewhere in the middle for now until we can have some of those explosive fights later on. And we're ticking on down on that timer with 20 seconds to go, which means with 100 Thieves and the way they've been trying to set up getting 2 dragons for themselves, having that soul point as something they can threaten with is important.
Well, look at this line of vision, right? There's nothing past that for TL, so this is going to be kind of difficult for TL to find the entrance. 100 Thieves are trying to fight around these corridors. It is Smited the way they're going.
They want to go for it. Closer getting the ult into the back line, and the rest of the team to follow. Sion coming in for the knockup onto multiple, and with Pyosik out of it even more, Haeri takes the brunt of the damage. A tidal wave thrown in response, but no lives lost just yet. Bjergsen, subject of the Lulu ultimate, getting a couple pokes onto this dragon now with a vision at their disposal, but Team Liquid are still on the outskirts. They can't quite take it just yet.
Yeah, Doublelift is trying to go down towards bot to actually heal off the wave. Closer is low here as well, and Pyosik is still in the area. They spot him with that blue trinket. He's going to go in. TL want to try to secure this, but 100 Thieves aren't willing to give it up just yet.
You can see Summit trying to make that face at them in front of the rest of the team. Haeri revolving around the entirety of the pit to look for the opening, standing on top of this blast cone, but 100 Thieves are still in full vicinity. Looking onto Haeri. Doublelift on top of him. Almost goes down. Finally eliminated. Pyosik into stasis in the middle of the fight. A polymorph onto Summit is not enough to keep him down. Team Liquid continues into pursuit. Tenacity finding his buddy and Busio under the tower, but it's not enough. They don't have Closer. They don't have Doublelift, and Team Liquid zone them out and make their way back over towards Riverside.
Yeah, Doublelift went way too far there. I'm not sure if he was trying to do a different angle where he just kind of gets close to them, but he straight up landed on Haeri. And Sylas says, thank you very much. I will take that free kill, and I will take your flash, and I will take that dragon.
Right into the heart of my chains. Let me give you a big hug.
We can watch this one more time. Watch the wild growth from Busio. This was actually great because it's flash over the wall from Summit, and then watch Summit here. The wild growth interrupts the Q. That Q knockup would have tagged both Doublelift and Bjergsen because that was a great engage from Summit. Then the empowered blast cone there kind of splitting them up, but it's 100 Thieves in this awkward situation where they send Doublelift down to try to heal back up, but Closer is still really, really low. 100 Thieves realize that they're actually getting flanked in this area by Haeri, and so they send people over, they spot him with the laser, and then Doublelift just goes straight in. Bjergsen gonna go down again, but I mean, Doublelift went straight in, but I don't think he realized that Pyosik could follow over the wall. You know, Pyosik was against that back wall in the dragon pit, so he comes in, and now they could potentially just start up this dragon at the very least, force some TPs, try to get a response.
Yeah, I mean, Pyosik and the rest of the Team Liquid squad feeling good about that last engage and now holding on to the Baron to see if they can string together this dragon and some purple capes for themselves. But 100 Thieves still keeping themselves around the vicinity. They've got some control wards. Haeri into the blue pit looking to make a play over the wall. but the ward is here, and there is knowledge that 100 Thieves can play with. They want to get some poke down to get Haeri to get the heck out of there, so they polymorph him, and instead set their sights on the summit. They know they can't burn him down, but try to get the attention of Haeri now, who sets his eyes on to Tenacity, but Closer and the rest of the team have plenty of escapability. The Baron is good for Team Liquid, so they get exactly what they were looking for with not that much violence.
No, I mean, the setup was just so good from TL. You know, if we can watch that back, their setup was really beautiful. Even though it goes down pretty slowly, the solo laners from TL basically made it an impossible Baron to actually approach with that 4-man squad, because Haeri is actually playing in the blue buff. He's not overcommitting. And Summit is playing over around mid lane brush. He's not overcommitting. So if you try to actually walk through that corridor, you're going to get flanked from two sides. You're going to have Lucian coming out with the culling. You're going to have all these people collapsing on you from every angle. There's just no way to actually really play out this fight. So the initial pick, well done here from Haeri, you know, just getting straight in up onto Bjergsen. He is separated from the team. Thought he kind of had enough coverage with the wards in the area, but he goes down. And then I just love this. You know, Haeri is going to move up into this blue buff area. Summit is going to play this area, because it's all about 100 Thieves trying to force their way through this corridor. And if you push through here, Summit will from one side, Haeri will come in from the other side. There's not any chance for Doublelift to kind of play safely in that area, and that's why he's hesitating. That's why he's moving back. They know that both these solo laners are ready to collapse, but what do you do about it? There's just nothing you can actually do. They can't all collapse on Summit. He can just ult away. You can't all chase Haeri, because he can just run away as well. So it's just a really well-executed Baron take there after a good pick onto Bjergsen.
No access for 100 Thieves to who they wanted to get to. And in the end right now, it's them trying to find access to somebody, which right now happens to be Pyosik. They get the kill, teleport called upon by Summit, but they cannot get a trade. Teleport over towards the top side from Haeri, so he gets on now. Now Summit trying to join CoreJJ into the river. Luckily has a cone to get out.
Yeah, gonna be able to get out of there. That got a little bit sloppy from TL. Pyosik way up by himself. He gives over a freebie. Then Summit is TPing in, I believe, as Haeri is TPing out. So some mixed signals there, but at the very least, I think they did get the tier 2 top because Haeri was able to get out. And yeah, Summit spends his summoners, but he does survive. So it is, at the end of the day, just the one kill. And they got that flash off of Closer as well. So TL still in a decent spot. They just need to kind of collect themselves and continue the push here. Haeri is ridiculously strong at this point. He's already got his death cap, 3 items complete, so he's ready to go, and they want to keep pushing the pace. Don't buy time for Doublelift and Bjergsen actually finish their 3rd item.
Yeah, and we keep looking at Haeri and Summit and the way that they're able to draw so much from 100 Thieves, now collapsing upon Tenacity, who has to get out of there. Locked on Vi goes for it. Tenacity blasted on down. Busio low as well. Haeri wants to dash on forward, and Doublelift is over in the jungle side to just keep himself separated from the majority of the damage, but you know that Pyosik is nearby, and 100 Thieves consistently just push back from this tier 2, which is the ultimate objective for Team Liquid while they're pushing down this lane.
I mean, they just cannot hurt Sion at all. They need a lot of items to come through before they're really going to be able to threaten this guy. 3 items for sure for Bjergsen and Doublelift, but they just can't do it just yet. And Summit is winning out in the 1v1 against Tenacity. You know, he gets the reinforcements coming in more quickly. 100 Thieves try to bail out their members, but not able to really get there in time to get anything done. So unfortunately for them, it's more wins for TL. It's a 6K lead now for TL. And it's looking like the losing streak may be continuing here for 100 Thieves, and TL going to be getting back towards their winning ways, looking to close out a 2-0 weekend.
And off of the good play they've had thus far with that 6K lead, can now get Soul Point under their belt. So feeling really good across. And I think that's why when we're looking at Team Liquid and we say, okay, they have shown that promise of really good early game play, we clearly see a strength there, and how can they continue to carry that out? Yes, there was that moment of miscoordination from a couple of them, and I think that's the area that we will continuously look at when tracking how they improve from week to week, because there's a little bit of those sprinkled in once in a while, but still a lot of positive to look towards.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think one of the big standout players in this game, though it has been kind of a quieter game because he is playing tank, is Summit. I think Summit has had really good engages. His positioning has been excellent on the tanks. And that's something I was kind of critical of in the past when he has played tanks, is that his laning phase would be great. He gets lots of farm, but I didn't always feel like he had as good of a handle on when he's playing tanks on how to position as when he's playing carries, right? You know, he would be sometimes too far forward where he's taking damage without his carries being able to return damage. And I feel like his engages have been great. His positioning has been great. He's never actually overcommitting to any of these fights, and he's making Doublelift and Bjergsen's job really, really hard.
Feels like a full awareness. That's what 100 Thieves were looking to see if they could follow up on that little bit of an inkling of what was going down here in River. Kind of bait out Team Liquid here, but you do have to be wary about how you rotate towards this jungle.
Oh, they're going.
Power's going for Pyosik. It's Closer with the target on the back and
Haeri
wanting to get as much as he can, but Haeri has to go golden in the center of this all, pulling to get some damage onto Closer, but the ultimate onto Tenacity helps him out as well. Summit can't quite do enough to keep them off of Pyosik and the rest, but the mobility does it for them. Clone enough to stifle them away. A turret still here for Team Liquid to retreat through, so no deaths had.
Yeah, no deaths yet, but Doublelift is still going. He wants to chase through.
Oh, nothing else to tank up the damage. Enough, though, so 100 Thieves cannot get the kill that they were itching for.
Yeah, and that is kind of the goal difference in action right there. You know, not being able to actually finish off those kills. Doublelift really wanted to press to try to get those final kills, but wasn't able to do it. Was really close to doing so, had that third item, so was on a big spike, but that is his flash committed. And that means that he's going to be very vulnerable potentially in this next fight. They're still waiting for Bjergsen to finish that death cap. He needs 400 more gold. That would be a massive spike for him. But Stopwatch at least didn't purchase up for Doublelift, so that is going to be something to help keep him alive in this next fight where he won't have that critical flash.
Looking at the stopwatches for Bjergsen and Doublelift for sure, as well as Guardian Angel on the opposite side. So these fights are going to be so key, especially when thinking about that gold deficit that 100 Thieves are facing and the vulnerability of their map at this point of time, and knowing the way that Team Liquid want to try and capitalize upon these narrow corridors to really get them locked down.
And it looks like it's just rinse and repeat. They're just back towards the Baron here. You know they have vision. 100 Thieves do have ways to check, though, and this is a 5v5, so I think this was more of a TL poke and prod, seeing if you can get someone overcommitting, you know, stepping a little bit too far forward, try to chunk them out, then start up the Baron. Oh, and this could catch multiple!
Get a knock up and a stun onto multiple there, and Summit, though, is still doing a great job of just keeping 100 Thieves locked in. Here's this little narrow way, and I'm gonna put my body between the rest of the team and let him poke over me all I want and get you guys in the jungle, because that's Sion's voice, right? That's what he sounds like, just like that.
Maybe a little bit deeper, but
maybe a little bit
close,
deeper.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna put my body in between myself and 100 Thieves, and because, you know, that's what these team fights need from the big old tanks angle. It's the most fun part, right? But seriously, though, Team Liquid going for the same style play around this second Baron compared to the first. They don't have to have the direct kill onto the members of 100 Thieves unless you do want to try and turn it. Closer, the subject of all of the action, attempted Aqua Prison, but Closer so close to death after that wild growth even.
Pyosik as well,
Pyosik, though, getting to the rest of his team, had to flash to get out of there. Summit also now executing his own flash to get to the rest, but now with him in the pocket of the grave, with his passive activated, Team Liquid have nothing else to hide behind but the disengage from both sides.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1 at the end of the day, and Viktor well and truly online now there. Bjergsen bakes and TP'd back in the midst of that with his death cap, and he was putting out so much pressure there. It was a great early ult from Closer. Watch Closer's ult when this engage comes in, because I believe he immuned the Sion ulti and procs his Virtue very early on, so he's getting the healing from his ulti here. Yeah, actually immunes with the Unstoppable, so he doesn't get stunned up immediately. Then the Lulu shields and Wild Growth come through. He flashes out. He forces him to commit in quite a little bit more. Pyosik going forward does finish him off, but look at the backline from TL. Look at these guys back here. This is why they're struggling. They can't actually approach the fight. Summit gets segmented out. Sure, he's taking a long time to die, but they know if they step forward, one more Viktor laser, one Zeri flashing and one Zeri, combo coming through would mean they would go down. And look at the work that Bjergsen got done. That is that death cap in action. So late game has arrived now. And TL, yeah, they have a big lead, but they have got to be careful with how they execute these fights, because if they mess up, it is going to be 100 Thieves control very quick.
With the damage from 100 Thieves hitting so much harder now, look at what happens to Summit's bar compared to earlier portions in the game.
Absolutely, and he used his ult to actually get back. He does have TP, so he could TP back in, but he has no ult to really threaten them. So that's why they're confident to actually walk up and chunk him out like that. If he didn't use his ulti to get back to the team, you walk up, he ults on your face, and all of a sudden you're in trouble. But there, he's feeling confident to step forward. We'll see what they can get done, though, because on the other side, Haeri is level 18. He has 4 completed items, and he has that stolen Viktor ult, which is going to put out a lot of punishment.
So still that gold lead for Team Liquid, but you cannot ignore the power spikes of 100 Thieves in times past that were pointed out. Haeri looking for the angle on the opposite side. Tenacity wants to get on out of there and knock up onto 2 members of Team Liquid. The calling coming out from Yeon, but all the while, Doublelift starting up on this dragon. So 100 Thieves just want to create that space so they can finish off this objective and deny the soul for Team Liquid.
Exactly, and that's an objective bounty as well. You know, this game feels very close. An objective bounty at this position is amazing for 100 Thieves, and now they just need to get back here, stop the Baron take. It is Summit playing bodyguard, but Haeri is threatening the flank.
And Tenacity still doing the work of trying to absorb it as much as possible. Haeri on this ward wants to hop on over, but is seen by the rest of the team. Team Liquid still committing to the Baron burn down thus far. Pyosik takes a little bit of a slap of damage directly into the pit, and Haeri's trying to go for it. Summit collapsing upon them as well. Tenacity really empowered by the utility of the team. Gets to the backline, but Core taking a nice slice from that double lift damage. We're seeing the same thing where the carries, all the squishies are so low, and they can't stand strong enough behind their tank to dish that damage back to 100 Thieves. So they tried to go for the wave to do some work. Summit now dead and into panic mode. Doublelift going for the members. Steps back from the Aqua Prison. Clutches forward for Yeon. Stasis, he goes after getting the kill onto CoreJJ. And Pyosik soon to fall. Coming back from the GA. But Haeri, will he give his life with the rest of the team? 100 Thieves says, I think so. We are a go on the enemy mid laner. Yeon tail between his legs as they retreat. 100 Thieves coming out on top in the fight.
Bjergsen is just crushing them in these fights now. As Summit is walking forward to try to zone, Bjergsen is just poking past the tank onto the backline, softening up those carries. So Haeri and Yeon, these guys can't really commit, and this time Haeri goes in very early, and he was chunked down so low so quickly, he didn't really get much done in that fight before it was just a full-on retreat, and then Doublelift kind of finds his moment. And this time, yes, he does give his life for it, but it is not in vain. It is for multiple kills afterwards. You know, Haeri trying to threaten on this flank. This is the empowered blast cone here, and he just gets right in on there, drops the stolen Viktor ult, but they all collapse in on him. People flashing back onto him, and then Tenacity is just kind of blocking them out. But look at Bjergsen on the side. He's hit multiple lasers onto Pyosik, onto Yeon, onto CoreJJ, and that is really the difference maker in these last 2 fights. Bjergsen's teamfighting has been excellent. Even the Q onto the Baron there from Bjergsen to get that speed up to continue the chase. And then as they are all very low here, Doublelift sees an opportunity to try to go in. Backstep there on the bubble, flash in over the wall, is able to take down Core, goes into the stasis. So yeah, sure, they do finish him off, but it gives Tenacity the time to actually get back up there. Bjergsen the time to get back up there and finish off additional kills, take off the GA from Pyosik. So the next team fight is going to be that much weaker from TL.
You can see that moment when anyone not named Summit or Haeri takes that damage and they go, nope. And they start turning the other way, and there's no more autos. There's no more Qs getting thrown down. There ain't nothing that you can put between yourself and 100 Thieves, who then have that access, especially when you've got that killer instinct in the eyes of Doublelift going for that setup for the rest of the squad. But now we're back at it into the center of the map. Pyosik's the one looking for the different angle with the long journey.
Yeah, this is a very deep flank. If he's not spotted, they probably have no idea that he's going to be in this area. But they're just moving up towards top lane. There's not really any minions right now for TL mid lane, so they can't actually threaten a trade. That's the problem. Like, if they had a minion wave right there, they could have actually threatened that and forced response from 100 Thieves, but because they do not, it's just 100 Thieves pushing up here, and again, segmented out as Summit.
They don't have their whole team here to contest, so Summit already
Pyosik though, look at Pyosik!
Flash, Pyosik made the long play, knock up onto 2, and Bjergsen and Busio, the rest of the team focusing on to the opposite side. Doublelift getting a lot of damage down though with his laser, pulling coming out in response, but Summit making sure to keep them corralled into the jungle corner. Haeri just on the duty of trying to clear out some of these minions though, because that was the biggest threat for 100 Thieves, as they did find Sylas under the cover.
Yeah, and Bjergsen gets chunked out there, so it will be 100 Thieves backing off. They defend the tier 2. Really good job from TL. They're not going to give up much at all during this Baron power play, but scaling is definitely in the favor of 100 Thieves at this point. 4 items done for Doublelift, 4 items done for Bjergsen, so the difficulty is really ramping up for TL, and this is where it's so hard for a Lucian to have that same level of effectiveness as you can for the Zeri, and you can see even finding places to farm has become difficult. He's down almost 100 CS now to Doublelift, who has so much more gold than this Lucian. Yeon at this point is almost just relegated to being a culling, and that's about it. It's very difficult for him to find places to enter the fight because the Viktor laser is so long range that every time he steps up for a Q, every time he steps up for an auto, Bjergsen is saving that for him.
And pretty much every time we've seen the culling coming out, it's in the earlier half of the fights where it doesn't really quite finish anyone off. So who are you relying upon to get those executing blows against 100 Thieves, who even right now you can see they're always positioning themselves to have either Doublelift or Bjergsen in the position to do so. Team Liquid looking for it all. By ultimate and the response, stunned up and into stasis. Haeri trying to survive all he can here before he goes down. Shut down with a double kill for Bjergsen. Flashes galore as the follow-up is good. CoreJJ separated from the rest of the team. Don't even need Tenacity there to do the work that Closer and Doublelift can put in. You get the flash from the Nami and you put her into a useless situation on this map. Team Liquid losing multiple in this fight. Closer says, please, I'm a pescatarian and I really want this fish and I got it. So Closer nice and full in the belly right now as the rest of the team putting in that work in the mid lane. Look, they say, Summit, you used to stand so strong against us. Look what happens to your HP now. Look what we can do to Yeon when you don't have this big tank in front of him. We can leave the tank for the last person alive because we're 100 Thieves and we've been turning this around, taking the inhibitor and pushing upon this base.
Yeah, they're gonna close this one out. Summit looking for one more fight. Not gonna be enough.
Find it into dead zombie zone. Hey, it's homage to what, you know, the Chemtech drink used to be. He's just really putting himself in that position. We do have Haeri and Pyosik here being the last ones to stand against 100 Thieves. Pyosik going in for a swing a cyclone around. GA pops. Haeri going in with a chain lash. But Tenacity, look! Barely any HP, but it doesn't matter. 100 Thieves still coming out on top and pushing Pyosik away.
I think 100 Thieves might not be able to end anymore, though. They've fought so much. We'll see. I mean, Yeon is spawning. They definitely can go for it. Bjergsen is going to kill this tower in a couple autos.
Yeon and CoreJJ, it's all on you. Closer is low enough, but there's no ultimate for Yeon. There's just a Nexus scanning for 100 Thieves.
Lasers half his health.
Looking to snap this back. Their 5-game loss streak here with a victory.
Yeah, 100 Thieves avoiding the 5 straight losses. They do get a big win here against TL, but it was hard fought. They had to come back. And Bjergsen, I think, making such a difference in those later fights. As soon as he hit Death Cap, when he based for Death Cap, TP's back into that fight, he started just crushing the backline in these 5v5s. Was doing such a good job just navigating these fights, getting around the backline. And so many resources are put into trying to kill off the Zeri. You know, you have to, if you're on TL side, pour so many resources into killing Doublelift. And as soon as you're doing that, Bjergsen's on the other side. You look over at the HP of Yeon, you look at the HP on Core. One laser is taking half their health off them at that point in the game. And 100 Thieves just team fighting their way out of that situation so beautifully. But it was definitely a close one. And I think one that TL had their opportunities in yet again. You know, they have been so good in the early games, so they just haven't been able to kind of close out a lot of these situations.
Another situation where that good early game was looking strong for them. They had that pressure on the bot lane, and in the end, it wasn't a victory for Team Liquid, but for 100 Thieves, I think that's one of the biggest things. When we talk so much about the bot lane and this bot lane centered meta, so we're looking at all the AD carries, right? But one of the strengths of 100 Thieves is Bjergsen and Doublelift, they know how to carry. And when you pair them well, considering all their history together, the way they can respond to what is needed by the team, when you have 2 threats and you're not just banking it all on one, that's always going to be difficult for the enemy team to focus on, especially with threats like Zeri, especially with that mobility that you have to lock on to get locked down. But Bjergsen's right around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is the difficulty when you're playing into these kind of drafts. You know, I do think 100 Thieves had the advantage of kind of ease of execution here. You know, they had these carries that have better range, that have really strong scaling. You know, can Sylas take over a game on full build? Yes, absolutely. But is it a lot harder to get into the fight and get that damage out than it is, you know, on a Viktor just throwing lasers over the shoulder of Azael? It is. It's much more difficult. And the same is true for that Lucian versus the Zeri. And that is why we are seeing, you know, at least in my opinion, you know, I think a way too high priority on Lucian Nami. Because Lucian Nami, to me, is losing this matchup, it feels like almost every single time. Like, you have to significantly outplay, it feels like, for your team to really be able to win the game. And, you know, they just weren't really able to do it. And that's now, you know, Core and Yeon, I think, have looked good in a lot of their games in the early laning phases, but it's now 1-4 for them on Lucian Nami. And on the other side, Doublelift is 4-1 on the Zeri, and that has been very, very reliable for him this entire season.
So many moments where we turn to those reliable things and say, let's see what they can turn this into.
Go back to Old Faithful.
Yeah, Old Faithful, always very promising. Now, though, as a reminder, we do have Fantasy LCS happening over on Sleeper, so make sure you lock in your picks and bans for next week's games if you want to top your league. I have too many times lost weeks because I forgot to do that, so please, please do. But we are joining Mark and Bjergsen for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you very much, Gabby. We have Bjergsen standing by with us after a bit of a difficult game. Bjergsen, congrats on the win. Talk to me a little bit about that game. It was something where initially you guys fell behind. Were you guys worried at all, or did you have the confidence in the scaling? Like, what was the mentality of the team?
I mean, we knew we could always win because we have a lot of scaling champs. We have Zeri, Lulu, and Viktor, which is pretty much the holy grail of late game. So, yeah, I trolled pretty hard, dying top at 21 minutes, losing Baron for my team. So. That feels really bad, but yeah, I mean, I think just we've been losing a lot of games, so we've been losing a little bit of our kind of aggression and decisiveness, but I think Closer was really bringing that today.
Look at your damage per minute, dude. 1,600?
Yeah, I'm just like lasering the Sion all game, bro. It's kind of fake data, but yeah, I think Closer he really brought a lot of decisiveness and like really pulled us together as a team today, which is why I think even from behind we found good opportunities to come back and win.
Yeah, I want to touch on what you said a little bit about the recent loss streak that you guys had gone on. It's been a bit of an up and down season for you. How have you guys kind of managed those expectations, and like what's the environment been like at the team?
I think the environment's been intense, but I think that's good. You know, we all want to win. We're all competitive, and we hold each other to a high standard. So. No one is happy with losing this many games, but I think it's also the fashion in which we're losing. You know, some of these games we lose without even ever getting like a fair 5v5 team fight, where either we're just getting engaged on and getting one shot, or we're just not connected and the enemy team is more connected, and that just feels like the worst way to lose because we never even gave ourselves an opportunity to have like a 5v5 fight and actually show our skill. So we've been working on that, and I think this game at the very least, you know, we're fighting S5, 5 versus 5. I think we were just a little bit tighter than TL were in a lot of the fights. So
yeah, definitely.
That feels good compared to some of our other losses.
Yeah, it was definitely good to see you guys clinch this one out. Before we go, just a personal question. How are you doing? I feel like you're sometimes, you know, shutting in. How's the cat? I think that's the biggest news that I've been following you. You've been just basically become a cat dad, right?
I mean, I have my cats for like 2 years, so.
I feel like most of your Twitter posts, maybe I'm just looking at the wrong ones, are just about your cat.
Yeah, because I don't know what else to say. I'm like, what do people want to hear about? But people like cats, so.
See, they like the cats.
Yeah, see?
You're a big reader. I heard you're in a book club, maybe? What have you guys been reading?
I am in a book club with Myth, Cutie Cinderella, who is cursed because every time she wants to interview me, I just lose and get stomped. And Brooke AB from 100 Thieves. We're reading a book on like design and psychology that Myth chose, and I'm meeting with them tomorrow to talk about the book. So, yeah, hopefully. I love Cutie on the LCS, but no more Cutie curse.
All right, well, we'll make sure she never comes back. Keep you guys on a win streak, hopefully.
That's okay. Just if she interview requests me, I might say no this time because I want to win.
Yeah, I got you. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me for this interview. We have Dignitas versus FlyQuest coming up next, as well as This or That with Kobe and Jet. See you there.
We have to tell everyone that we just switched to Verizon's new Welcome Unlimited plan for just $30.
I've already told everyone.
Wait, did you say Verizon for just $30?
It's their best unlimited price ever.
$30? That's awesome. Yeah, and it's from the most reliable 5G network in America.
For $30 a line, I'm switching now.
Yeah, it's easy. And you get $960 when you switch the whole family.
Wow, I gotta let my buddies know.
We're already here.
The network you want, the price you love, only from Verizon.